Hello everyone and welcome to Retail Archaeology. Today we're going to be taking a look at Grossmont Center, a outdoor mall located in La Mesa, California. This mall opened in 1961, so it's on the older side. And from what it looks like, it's not doing very well either. Take a look at the map here first real quick to get an idea of the size of this place and some of the stores that are here. You can see it's anchored by a Macy's there, a Walmart, and a Target. That Walmart at one point was the Montgomery Wards. Also, from what I can gather from doing some research online, the Macy's may have been a Broadway before it was Macy's, and we'll take a closer look at it later on in the video because it's pretty interesting to look at. This mall itself is actually beautiful to look at. So I was here between noon and 2 on a Saturday afternoon, and when I first arrived, some sort of like healthcare show was wrapping up. They had a bunch of booths and stuff from different healthcare providers and vendors and stuff. And that seemed to have actually drawn a little bit of traffic into the mall, but as you can see here, when I arrived, they were just starting to close up and wrap things up, so all the booths were shutting down, and as that was going on, a lot of the traffic just kind of drained out of the mall. And we can see a dead mall staple, a Bath & Body Works. So this was an early April Saturday afternoon, and it was absolutely gorgeous, which is not surprising if you're familiar with Southern California. That's one of the things I love about it. But having all these like tents up and everything that were pretty much empty at this point made it even nicer, so it was really cool out. That's one of the things I like about California is all the outdoor malls that are here. We don't have a lot of older outdoor malls in Arizona. They're just starting to build those now, but they make sense in California because the weather's just gorgeous. Now this was something really interesting that I stumbled across, this Grossmont Central Railroad. This is actually a model railroad club, and the mall lets them use this space for free. And the people that run the club were actually nice enough to let me do some filming in here. They told me a little bit about their history here in this location. I guess this particular storefront has been empty for years and years and years, and the club used to come here and do a Christmas display. And after the second year of doing that, they were kind of packing their stuff up again, and the owners of the mall came to them and said, you know, hey, this store has been empty for years, we haven't been able to rent it out, and everybody seems to really like you guys, and we like you, so why don't you guys just have it until we're able to lease it out. So they're actually only open a couple days a week because it's staffed by club members, and you know, it's all volunteer, but it's really cool that this is here, and it's something really interesting that I've never seen in a mall before. Some of these miniatures are really detailed. He was nice enough to take the roof off of this one, and you can see inside this is a brewery. That's pretty cool. It's really funny too when you start to look closer. You can see there's a DeLorean there. And then way off there in the distance is Star Trek, the original Star Trek crew. They've just got all kinds of goofy stuff like that all over the place. These are just amazingly detailed. And I thought this was pretty funny too. Here's a little like Chick-fil-A display, which makes sense in a mall, except for there's not a Chick-fil-A in this mall's food court. If you want to learn more about this model railroad club, there'll be a link to the club's website down in the description below. These guys were super friendly. Anyways, back out into the mall itself, you can see there's a Panda Express there, but there's a lot more choices for eating than that in this mall. There's actually a really cool food court that was added on in 1993, and that's where we're going to be headed to here in a minute. Because this mall opened in 1961, it's had a lot of interesting names in retail come and go, like the Montgomery Wards that I mentioned. There was a Bullock's here, a Woolworths at one point. Kind of wish some of those were still here to look at today. There's also a lot of this with the closed shops. They cover them over with exciting, fancy looking signs and stuff like that to make it look like things aren't dying, but we all know what's going on here. Now here's that food court I was talking about. And there's a Wetzel's Pretzels that faces outside, and then there's also a register that you can walk up to inside. But let's go ahead and walk into the food court, because like I mentioned, this one is indoors. And it's really awesome to look at, starting with the tile floor. I love that pattern. That is, like I mentioned, this food court was built in 1993, and it very much looks like 1993 in here still. Lots of neon lights too, which I love. Not a lot of people for a Saturday afternoon though. I grabbed a burrito from this place right here, and it was really good. I had a hard time finishing though. It was huge. It was like the size of a baby. I love these weird signs that are up along the walls. Those are definitely 90s. I'm sure those have been here since it opened. This food court was one of the main reasons why I wanted to come to this mall. I heard and seen pictures of it that it looked like this, and I wanted to see it for myself. I knew if the food court looked like this, the rest of the mall should be pretty interesting as well. Next time I come here, I think I'll check out Dante's and try that. That looks good. That's kind of interesting too, the Mustang grill sticking out from the shop. And then the saddest arcade ever, if you can even call it that. There's some skill cranes, a 60-in-1 arcade game back there with an awful monitor. But then there's happy things like this neon clock. I love that. Now this fountain is right outside the food court. There's kind of an outdoor seating area out here, and this was really neat. I love mall fountains, and this is a really cool one. There was a dedication plaque here too. It's a little hard to read because of the calcium deposits and stuff from the water all over it. I didn't know about this area until after I ate that burrito. I kind of wish I would have saw this first, because I probably would have ate out here. It was really beautiful. And really quiet too, except for the tinkling of the fountain. And there's an entrance to the Macy's, which we'll take a look at here in a little bit. Now this little place is right outside the food court, and it's a shame that this couldn't stay open with this really beautiful seating area and that fountain right there. I would think like a coffee shop or something would be successful, except for, oh yeah, this is a dying mall. Kinda sucks. A very colorful dying mall though. Shopping is in our nature. It doesn't look like it, unfortunately. I think that's part of the problem. Now, this is an interesting covered corridor, even though it's an outdoor mall. There's more of those covered up closed shops. And then right here was a little do-it-yourself ceramics place, which this was actually really busy. This was one of the few things that seemed to be drawing people into the mall. Of course, the movie theater's right outside as well, which that seemed to be fairly busy. Movie theaters always seem to do well, even in dying malls. And there's the entrance to the Target. And then right outside of that, there's this really beautiful courtyard. Just lots of colorful flowers. The grass is actually artificial, but it's still really nice. When I was a kid, man, on a Saturday afternoon, a place like this would be packed, especially on a nice day. And then the Macy's has an entrance into this beautiful courtyard as well. Now we'll go ahead and take a closer look at the Macy's. Here's another entrance, and man, does that look old. As does the store. Between the floors look very old and worn out. That Jessica Simpson sign looks very faded. I love old floors like that, so it kills me to see them worn out and not maintained like that. Look at that brown and white checker tile too. That's like 70s style. But this building is very old. These light fixtures are another example of that. I don't think they're coming across very well on camera, but there's like spiral CFL fixtures in those that I haven't seen in forever. Or those little air diffusers like that either. And then this jewelry. I'm sure this is the exact same jewelry they've been selling since 1990. I bet if I found a Macy's catalog page, you see the same jewelry in it from 1990. And then do you guys remember these? The little in-store phones that you could use to like pay your credit card and stuff and order stuff from the catalog? I love finding old phones like this, and of course I've got to check and see if it works, and it didn't. There was no dial tone or anything. Which is interesting that it's still here. Here's another stretch of the outside of the actual mall, and there's just a lot of beautiful flowers and plants out here. I'm glad they're keeping that up. That Macy's, I think, is probably the oldest part of the mall still existing, though. It's cool to see. I just wish it was in better shape. Because the mall itself, even though it's not doing well, it's clearly dying, is still in really, really good shape. And I would definitely recommend coming and checking it out between the railroad thing and the old Macy's and beautiful flowers and scenery like this. Here's a little hoity-toity wedding dress shop. Didn't appear to be open. I don't think it's like closed permanently, but it wasn't open. So yeah, if you've got any memories of Grossmont Center in La Mesa, California, I'd love to hear about those down in the comments. I'm gonna go ahead and end the video tour here with one more shot of my favorite part of this mall, the food court. Just wish it was busier. I hope it stays around for a long time. As always, thanks for watching. Want to see your name here? Head on over to patreon.com/retailarchaeology to find out how you can help support the channel. Hey, thanks for checking out my video on Grossmont Center in La Mesa, California. If you enjoyed this video, I've got some other ones there you can watch, and also don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons, and also follow at the social media links down below because that's the best way to keep up with what's going on with the channel. And as always, thanks for watching.